The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of ParaX, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
All these voices. All these voices. All these things you can't explain. All these painful memories. They keep haunting you and daunting me. It's just the ghost of you and me. It's just the smoke and gasoline. It's just the ghost of you and me. Of you and me.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Staring into the Abyss. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me as always my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. Hello, Misfits.
Also joining us tonight, we have a very special guest, Miss Jackie Ash. She is a member of the Tales from the Abyss West Coast team and Old Boy's wife, and we're going to be talking about some interesting stuff tonight. So, how are you doing tonight, Jackie?
I am doing quite nicely this evening. Thank you very much for asking. How are you guys doing?
We are good. The first thing I want to talk about tonight, we've done multiple episodes about the cases that we work and stuff like that, and we might get into that a little bit later. But Old Boy has been teasing the audience over years now about having you on the show to talk about astral projection and the traveling that you do at night. So what I would like to start with is, if you would, just go ahead and kind of explain to the audience what you do and how it works, and just kind of run through that for them.
Okay. Astral projection is leaving your body. You literally float out of your body, and you can see other people. You can see yourself wherever you're at, wherever you go. My astral projection, it takes me a little bit further than just to the side of my bed, which I've done on numerous occasions and have gotten upset at myself simply because I really wanted to go to the restroom. I mean, happens. And I come back and I see myself and I think, what the heck? Now I really have to get up and go to the bathroom, where I really seriously thought I had already gone to the bathroom. So things like that. My astral projection, though, is a little bit more intense. I go to other places. I don't just astral project, like I said, to the side of the bed. I literally go on, I tell my husband, James, or Old Boy, that I go on a walkabout, you could say. I go beyond the realm of here, us, now, into another realm or another constellation, you could say. I can't really auto-explain it because it literally happens to me so constantly. I'm so used to it that it's really difficult to just say, oh yes, it happens just like this. No, it doesn't just happen just like this. I've been doing this since I was a kid. I've had experiences since I was really small, which I didn't know I was having. I thought I was dreaming, and I would wake up and I would instantly wake up with bruises or, things like that I couldn't explain. And it was really difficult. But astral projection, it takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of your mental energy, physical energy, because you have to make sure you're connected to be able to come back. It takes a lot of time to learn how to do that. If you don't have a good guide, if you don't have good people around you that understand what you're going through, it's very difficult to come back and not get lost. Yes, Insidious is a big, huge movie, and the child is just walking about with dead people everywhere. But it's more of you go into another realm, you go into other places, and you don't recognize. I've been to a place where I knew I needed to help someone. I just knew it, and I could hear them, and it was this world, and it was completely white, and it felt ashy almost. I can smell. My senses are really, really intensified, and I've come back with grit under my nails before. I've had experiences where I've been fighting with something in a completely different world. You would say, like, you can actually more like confuse it as a game. You go into a game, boom, you go to another level, boom, you go to another level, boom. And every level is really different. Well, those are the kind of realms I go into. I've come back, and my husband has seen evidence where I wake up and I'm like, son of a biscuit, ow. Like, look at my thigh, and there's this big bite mark on my thigh. This happened a few years ago where he didn't understand what I was going or where I was going until I really sat down with him and explained, this has been happening to me my whole life. But astral projection takes a lot of energy out of you. It leaves you really tired. You have to do a lot of emotionally, mentally, because yes, if something happens to you out of your body, you're done. And something else can come and take over your body. That can happen. It's never happened to me. I think I've been very fortunate because I've been doing this for such a long time that I know how to come back, that I know how to close doors when I open them. I've encountered other things that have noticed me. That one was one of the ones that I was actually really scared of. And that time I woke up and I told James, I told old boy, this just happened. And it really, really got to me. Things usually don't get to me. People talk to me constantly. When I say people, I mean spirits. They constantly talk to me. I've had to learn how to put up a wall. That takes a lot of energy. But yes, people constantly talk to me. They touch me at night. They wake me up calling, screaming my name in my ear. I literally jolt and sit up and talk back to them like, what the heck do you want? Let me sleep. And it's really, it takes time. It takes a lot of effort to block all of those people. Unfortunately, when you're asleep, you can't really, do that. Your subconscious is relaxed. It's supposed to be. In my case, I'm a chronic insomniac. I think it's because of what I can do and what I do constantly. But that experience I had, I opened up a door that led to another door. I knew I had to close the door. And when I opened the second door, I stood there, and it was a creature. It did not even look at me until I physically and verbally exhaled, completely turned and sneered. And I said, goodbye. That's it. I'm done. I'm done with this journey. I don't want to be here anymore. I closed the door, went through the second door, closed the door, and literally 2 seconds later, slammed in my body, felt myself slam, and woke up. So that one has never left my mind. It's always there, and I do not want to open that door again, because the energy that came from that creature it was just really tarish evil. I could feel it. And I'm not scared of things because I've had experiences. I'm not scared of them, but that really jolted me. It really got me thinking, holy cow. I just really went a little further than I usually do. And I don't want to go over there again. I don't want to open that door. No. So yes, astral projection is a very physical, very mental thing. And if you can tolerate, and I mean tolerate because it does take a lot out of you, tolerate the experience, it puts you on a whole other level of consciousness that you could never imagine having. Being able to travel to other places or other realms is something that not a lot of people can do. And I just, stumbled upon it as a child and was able to do it. I remember my mom always telling me, things have always followed you. Things have always been attracted to you. And I never understood that as a kid because I thought it was normal for me to see people walking in other kinds of clothing or stop by and say hello. And I didn't think of it any other way. Mind you, I was raised Roman Catholic. So it was very hard for my mom to tell me these things when I was really small. And it was hard for me to really cope with it and understand it because I was confused. Me being able to do all of this and see all of these people, they weren't really alive. Or if they were, I was seeing them through a veil into another world or another time maybe. But I just I didn't understand at that time that that's what I was really doing. So when things come up to me and grab my leg and touch my leg, and my husband will sometimes say, well, I didn't feel that. I'm like, well, no, because they want to touch me and they want to talk to me for a specific reason. Don't know why, but they're always there. They follow me to work. The astral projection has brought me into contact with other people I don't even know, people that I feel connected with, but don't really understand why I'm connected to them. Again, I think that the astral projection has brought me to so many other places that are familiar to me, but that's because I've traveled there before. And I'm still trying to get used to the fact that I can travel through dimensions. That was a new one a few years ago that I didn't even understand either. Dimensional traveling is really intense. It's really, you could say it's out there, haha, but it's really intense. It's other worlds. It's other worlds. And if you really believe what I believe in the spiritual world, you'd understand and you'd get it that yes, going to other worlds, other realms, and other dimensions is something that can happen, does happen. And I've been very fortunate and lucky enough to be able to do that, even as a child, even not understanding.
I think it's very interesting that you're having physical manifestations of spiritual wounds. That's very interesting to me. Do you have any control over where you go, or is it just kind of take you wherever it wants to take you?
It's more of a where my energy really gets pulled to. Sometimes I have the urge to go a certain way, and that's the way I go. It's like following your gut instinct, You follow your gut instinct and you're never wrong with your gut instinct. When I opened that second door to that and saw that other creature that was really, it gave me the heebie-jeebies. I knew, gut instinct, close the door, turn around, walk away. When I go and do the astral projection, it literally, you focus and it takes you. If you're really, really, really talented, you can definitely be in two places at the same time. I have not gotten to that point yet because I've not sat down and practiced it as much as I should. Maybe I should start meditating a little extra. I used to meditate a lot more. That's when I started going a lot, doing a lot more exploring, if you will. But usually I just follow my gut feeling, like where am I getting pulled toward to? If I'm getting pulled this way, I go this way. If I feel like I need to go to the right, I go to the right. And that's what manifests in my mind. When I get to that certain place, I know exactly that I'm supposed to be there for one reason or another. I just know that I'm supposed to be there.
In a lot of the accounts that people tell about astral projection, a lot of them say that there is a tether, so to speak. It has been described as like a glowing silvery kind of line that links them to their body that they can follow back. Have you witnessed anything like that? Do you see some sort of line that connects you so that you can find your way back, or can you just kind of feel where your body is, or how does that work with you?
Mine is a literal physical connection. I learned this about 5 years ago, and I listened to music constantly. So my connection, it didn't matter what it was. I've trained myself to have my headset in and connected to my phone. That is my literal lifeline. I sleep with my headphones every single night. If I do not sleep with my headphones, it's chaos. Everything is talking to me in the bedroom. Everything is talking to me in the bedroom. They're coming and touching me. They're not leaving me alone. So I put my headphones in and I always have white noise on. Old boy cannot sleep with white noise. His experience with white noise is a complete whole different experience, which is not fun. If I don't sleep with white noise, everybody talks, and then my insomnia just flies. So my tether to my body is literally my headphones. I had to learn that the hard way. I got lost and I slept for a good, I'd say a good 12 to 14 hours before I woke up. And that was scary because I hadn't taken anything. I just couldn't get back. I could not feel where my body was. And it's not like looking in the dark. It's just a feel, an instinct. Oh, okay, here's my connection. There you go. So I learned that the hard way. I was on a walkabout and I was hovering above a tree line, which I've never been to. I've never been to a place like that. And you could see red water, which was the weirdest thing. And I was just floating above. I was just hovering above. And I turned around and complete lost. I was like, okay, I don't feel myself. What am I supposed to do? I was really a little bit in a panic, but like I said, I slept for such a long time. Well, probably not sleeping. I was just not there. And it took me a while to get back. So from then on, I literally slept with headphones on, whether I had the music on or not, but I still had my headphones in. That's my tether. If I take a nap, my headphones are in. Does not matter. That is my tether to my body to here and not another realm, which I've not wanted to go back to without my headphones.
A lot of times, if you like look in the Bible, God will come to people in their dreams and give them prophetic visions while they sleep. And that leads me to my next question, which I think is an interesting one. In a prophetic vision, you are seeing events that have not yet transpired. You are seeing a glimpse of the future and what it holds. And what made me think of this question is when you just said you saw a red body of water, like Red River or something. That made me think of the book of Revelations and a third of the water turning to blood during the end days. So have you ever, I don't want to say had a prophetic vision, but have you ever traveled to a time that is not the time that you're currently in while you're out of your body?
I believe I have, but I don't recognize. I really don't recognize. It's not like Back to the Future and flying cars and all that stuff. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. But I believe that with the kind of astral projection that I can do, I believe that there's other dimensions that could be our future. But it's not like 1,000%. I can't say that, yes, that is the future. I can't say, no, it isn't the future, because I'm not like that. But you never know. You never know. A lot of the times I'll say something and boom, bam, it happens. I'll think about people. They just pop in. A lot of the times it happens with my patients. I'm thinking about a certain patient. Oh gosh, I hope they're doing okay. The next day they show up. I haven't looked at my schedule. I haven't seen them in 6 months because they haven't come in for their treatment or whatever it is. And they come in and they're like, oh, hello, how are you doing? Oh, that's funny. I was thinking about you yesterday. And I hadn't even a clue that you were coming in. So I don't know if that signifies that I do have a certain ability to be able to see or project a kind of future, but my grandfather was like that. From what my mom and a lot of family members have told me, my grandfather on my mother's side could tell you exactly to the T when it was going to rain. To the T. And that was like, wow, Mom, that's interesting. So to me, that's pretty, significant. I was not close to my grandfather, but my mom says that he was very, very talented in that way. And I could say I got some of his gift. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I believe that there are other futures, just not what we envision.
I think that everybody has the ability to travel like that. But I think that most people don't know how to access it. When I was a little kid, and I grew up over in Germany, and the night before the Challenger was set to go off, and send like the first teacher to space, Krista McCullough. That was a big deal back then to all of us. And I remember we watched the launch in school because it was the first teacher going into space, and they made a big deal out of it, especially because I was on an Air Force base, right? So the night before that launch happened, I had a dream that the Challenger actually exploded. And I saw it. I saw it go up, I saw it explode and go into two different plumes of smoke in different directions. I saw it exactly as it happened the night before. And it really freaked me out. And I woke up and I was like, oh man, that was a horrible dream. And then I went to school and we're watching it on TV, and it literally is happening exactly as I saw it happen in my dream. And I was blown away by that. And I think that a lot of people have those kind of dreams and they just don't recognize them. And also, when you look at like hallucinogenics, like DMT, ayahuasca, those kind of things, a lot of the experiences that those people talk about are traveling to another realm, another dimension, whatever you want to call it, and interacting with creatures and interacting with different beings. And it's interesting when you really start to get into those accounts and those stories that those people tell, how similar their experiences are. And I don't think that can be a coincidence, that they're all seeing the same thing, because these people have never met. It's not a very well publicized thing. I mean, you literally have to search it out to find out what they see. You have to go look for their interviews and stuff like that. It's not something that everybody knows about. So I think that somehow the hallucinogenic is allowing you to access part of your brain that allows that. Some cultures call it your third eye. Everybody has a different name for it. All these different cultures do. But they all have the same basic idea that human beings have psychic and spiritual abilities that are ingrained in us. The Bible talks about prophecy. It talks about seeing visions. It talks about communicating with the dead. It talks about all of these things. So it's something that was well accepted in multiple different cultures, that this is a reality. And it's interesting how modern man always looked at themselves as the most civilized, most advanced that there's ever been. But we deny things that have been common knowledge for the entirety of our existence. And now we pretend like those things don't exist. And people actually laugh at people for believing in a lot of these old things, when for the majority of our existence as human beings, it has been reality, And I think that something happens when you take those hallucinogenics that causes either a physical shift in the brain, something to open up, or some kind of veil to be pulled down that allows that ability that we all have to be able to be used. And I think people like you and people that are like psychic mediums and stuff like that, I think they just either don't have that barrier in place, or they have figured out, most of them by accident, how to bypass it, how to get through it. There's some sort of thing that they do, even if they're not conscious of it, that allows that ability to be used. And I wonder if sometime in the future, if it doesn't become more common, and if eventually we all kind of learn how to use that portion of our mind. What are your thoughts on that?
I believe that you could be correct. I believe that meditation, not just, spiritual and not just religious, any kind of meditation will open your mind up to everything else. It will. If you take any kind of mind enhancing drug, or if you take any kind of drug that tends to relax you, relax your mind, relax your whole self, it does leave you vulnerable. It does open you up more physically, but mentally, to anything that wants to poke around. I've myself have had edibles. I have a lot of back problems from an accident that I had. And so if I take an edible, I tend to see everybody. I've seen a cat follow me to work the day after. And I'm not even on my edible anymore. This is a day after. It leaves me open for about a week. And no matter what I do, it just happens. It relaxes me to the point where everyone is just saying hello. I don't get anything aggressive. That's the one thing I will say. I won't get anything aggressive. I'll get teasing. I'll get a tickle. I will see the cat that I always see. And I tell old boy, I'm like, there's the cat again. Oh, that big fluffy one. I'm like, yeah, there it is. Hi. And it's just walking about, doing whatever a cat does. Doesn't bother me, but I always see that cat. Now, I've had recent dreams, and mind you, my when I have dreams, they're not really dreams, where there's been a lot of interaction with myself, and I usually don't dream of old boy. I don't dream of old boy. I've had dreams with him and we're having full conversations. Old boy and I are very connected. This is one thing I will tell you. If we're having a couple of drinks, we're very connected. We can feel each other very well. We've actually shared dreams. And it's a little strange, but that's how strong our connection is. When our defenses, if you say, or if you will, and our veil is down, our spiritual connection is so intense, and we're so connected that we share that. He could be thinking one thing and I'll just automatically do it. And it's vice versa. But yes, I do believe that if you take certain things, they will open up your mind even more. They will bring down those walls that you have up, and knowing or unknowingly open you up and let you explore, literally explore other places. And it's not just because you're taking the drug, it's literally because we do have that ability. And the drugs do enhance that ability. They make it stronger. They help develop it more. Maybe that's why in the 60s and the 70s, it's, drugs and rock and roll, baby. That's what it was. But they did so many of those mind opening drugs. They could literally see into the future. And a lot of the people didn't understand or just thought they were really drugged out. But they're really on a good trip. And that's what it's called, a trip. You go on a trip, you go on an adventure, you literally leave your body and go to other places. A lot of people think that schizophrenics are just insane and there's people talking to them all the time and everything. I seriously believe that they could hear those people. And there's so many people talking to them at one time that they don't know how to handle it. And these are people that have high ability, but don't know how to work with it. They've never been taught. They don't know what's going on. They have such high intense ability that they literally do go insane. That's my belief. That's me. I believe that drugs can enhance the ability for you to be able to travel a lot easier.
I think that's because they break down the walls that we build ourselves. I think the reason why children a lot of times will see spirits and things that adults don't see is because they haven't built those walls up yet. They're still innocent. So they haven't had the world beat them down and constructed these walls of disbelief and everything up that keep them from doing any of these things. That's my personal thought on it. Because I know that when you're talking healing, okay, like when we work demonic cases, I do spiritual and emotional healing for the clients. And when you're doing any kind of healing, whether it's emotional healing or physical healing, faith is a huge component of that. If you remember the story from the Bible, a woman walks through the crowd and touches the hem of Jesus' robe. And Jesus felt power leave him. And he stopped and he said, "Hey, who touched me? Who touched my robe? I felt power leave. What's going on?" And this woman walks out of the crowd and is crying, and she's like, it was me, I did it. Because I knew if I could just even touch your robe, that I could be healed. And he told her, it's by your faith that you were healed. And that's how healing works. That's how physical and emotional healing, when you're doing it spiritually, that's how it works, is the person's own faith is healing them. So I think faith equals belief. And as you get older, you don't believe in a lot of things anymore, because you've had to deal with the world lying to you for so long, and everybody lying to you, and everything beating you down, and the world is just a giant bowl of suck most of the time, and that takes its toll. And I think that we build up walls to protect ourselves emotionally and spiritually and physically and everything. And I think that is something that acts to hamper and to inhibit our abilities to do a lot of things that we can actually do. You know I heal myself all the time. When I have a headache or something, I'll sit quiet and I'll concentrate and I'll will my headache to go away. You know, our minds have the ability to do amazing things, but I think faith is a key element of that. So I'm going to throw over to Old Boy and get his opinion on all this and any questions that he would like to ask.
My opinion is a little different, but because I've seen stuff myself, I don't do it anymore because I know how to control it. See, when I see myself, it's something trying to get me, and then whatever's in me gets rid of it. But the other thing is, I used to see myself sleep, and if somebody would die, they would come visit me. And it never really tripped me out, but they were saying bye to me. It hasn't happened to me for a while because I've controlled it. Why I don't like white noise, I never have. It gets me into another world. And people don't understand that. If I can't sleep because I'll start dreaming some crazy stuff, guys. And James used to do this. That's why he writes his book. With Jackie, we'll be sitting in bed and something will touch her. And she goes, "Did you touch me?" I'm like, "No." "Did you see that?" "No." I had some weird dreams. And the cat is something that follows me. It was my old cat that died. I've seen it from the old house, and I've seen it at this house. It was a very loving cat, awesome black cat, Snook. Loved to be petted, loved it. And I always see it too myself. So that's one thing I can tell you that I do see that she sees. My opinion is there is different dimensions. That's why I think sometimes we dream and we see those dimensions. This is my opinion on it. And I think it's a different dimension we're in. And if you ever think about it, when you wake up from a dream, either something bad happens or something exciting happens, or you wake up and your heart's pounding, or you have the one where you're falling. I believe those are other gateways. And to James, I think some people can see the future, and I've seen some people can see the past. I have had dreams about the past. I've had different lives. And one life was, I'd probably say like the 1100s, thousands, way around that area. And we were part of a group. Jackie was in it. I've been with Jackie numerous times. And I know some people have their beliefs. That's cool. Whatever you want to believe. But I've been to places I've never been to, and it was like home. Like, for some reason, Hollywood I have a connection there, and I don't know why. I've been there a couple times, but I love it down there, and I'm comfortable there. And that's weird because I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I was born in Pennsylvania. I have another thing about Pennsylvania. For some reason, people in my life always come from Pennsylvania or by it. James lives in Virginia right next to it. So there's something about back east too. Ireland, Scotland, another. And even Norway. I believe I was in the Viking era and other things. But I've seen stuff myself. I believe what she's saying. It's kind of like Insidious. You guys seen that? She kind of does that stuff. It talks to her. Some stuff she doesn't like. Some stuff doesn't bother her. Some stuff, even though it's powerful, doesn't mess with her. With me, it's just, especially with white noise, for some reason, things like to mess with me. And then whatever's in me messes with them back. That's a whole nother story, and I will do my own show on that. But because Jackie does this all the time. And it was an interesting show. I've always teased it for years, and I've always said it. We always tease stuff we weren't going to do. The End of Time show, James finally finished it after almost 3 years. And we've been talking about it off and on even before that. We'll tease shows that's coming up in the future. So right now we are talking about a future show that I've been talking about years and it's been in the making. And I finally got her to do it. And one thing I will tell you, I'm very connected to my wife. I know when people are talking about us. I know when people have their opinions on us. I know when people like us. I know when people have feelings for us. I know when people are legitimately awesome or they're bad. And you can tell her, and she's had arguments with me, because we're dealing with something right now I can't talk about that I was right about. That 99% of the time, I wouldn't say 99, I'm about 90. I'll give my 10% I'm wrong. Because no one's perfect, and I'm not. Trust me. I'm right. I'll say something, and year down the line, it happens. And there's a couple incidents right now that we're all dealing with that I've been talking about for a year that I knew it was going to happen. And there's other issues. When you get well-known, people either like you or they hate you. And most of the time when people hate you and talk about you because they want to be where you're at or be you. And or they think they should be where you're at. And that's something we all deal with, me and James and the group does, because there's a lot of people out there. Recently, somebody tried to get me on a show to attack me. She lost her show over it, and now I could talk about it, but tried to lie, have another lady that was friends with me, and she canceled the show because it was two ladies to do the show, and she told me what she was going to try to do to attack my faith. I knew this was going to happen. I told my wife I kind of had this feeling, and I told James a week before that. And James agreed with me. He knew too that was going to happen. And it backfired on her. But I knew it. But I don't get the things she talks to them. My grandfather, she talks to. He used to smoke cigarettes. She told me some guy who smoked cigarettes, I know that's him. He probably wasn't the best. I got along with him, but my family didn't. And he wasn't the best guy in the world. To me, he was. But to my family and my grandmother, it wasn't. But he loved me. So I'm not surprised about that. And I love my grandmother. My grandmother was murdered years ago. I can finally talk about it. I don't want to tell people how. But that was the one person I loved more than anybody. And that destroyed me for a long time. Now I love my wife and I love my mom, but I was really close with my grandmother. And that really affected me. And it still does. I mean, everybody has somebody they loved that they're gone. But that really affected me. And it still does. So that's why I started kind of getting into this stuff back then. Because I wanted to see and talk to her, but I never got the courage to do it because I don't know if I should do that. And I probably won't. But I know she's there sometimes. And what I will tell you this is that I've seen her in dreams a long time ago, and I know she's fine. But other than that, sorry I went on that one. I had a little bit to do with what we're talking about. But I don't have no questions because I know what she tells me all the time, bro. So the only question is, she sees the stuff that happens to me and knows what I am. And she kind of calms me down. She's what's keeping me from being something else. And that's just everybody. I think James has the same way. He's got a really close relationship with his wife. They're best friends. That's what my wife is. That's what you're supposed to have. And that's why people, why you always put her on video? Why are you putting her on the mag? My wife is everything to me, just like his wife is. And that's why it's not just me who does this show with James. It's my wife that helps me a lot about all the shows we do. I talk to her about it. But this is one I've always wanted her on, and I'm glad I got to. And it's been very interesting. But that's all I got to say. But there you go, James.
I thought it was very interesting when you said what you are. You almost slipped up and told the world you're a reptilian, didn't you?
We don't want to go there. I've already been accused of that.
I know, it was a cheap shot. I had to take it. I wanted to thank Jackie for coming on. We still got about 10 minutes left of the show. So basically, I want to give the floor over to you, Jackie, and just anything you want to talk about, any points you want to make that we didn't get to tonight, anything that you feel is important. And if you would, maybe some words of wisdom for people that are just starting with astral projection, or if they are interested in it and would like to try it. Is that something you would recommend? And if so, what kind of steps should they take?
I believe that if you want to start developing your abilities to be able to astral project, you have to be in a good, stable mind. That's one thing. You have to be in a good way in your head, because it can go 1,000,001 wrong ways. It could lead you to a wrong path. It could literally make you do things that you really don't want to do, because, like I said, it's very grueling. It's straining. You have to have a lot of willpower. You have to have a lot of mind power in order for you to be able to control and develop the abilities. If you already have them and don't know how to control them, I suggest doing a lot of meditation and short spurts of projecting. You envision, you project, you envision, you project. I myself project a lot of energy. And I have a lot of friends that have been witness to it. If I am very angry, my energy will project, and it's not very good for the person that's going to get the brunt of it. My energy is extremely strong. And I believe it's because I've had so much exposure since I was a child that's why my energy is really strong. And mind you, I mean, it took me a while to be able to develop the ability that I have now. It's really difficult. I can connect with my daughter, and we are very, very close, my daughter and I can connect with her like that. I can think about her and she'll text me. Just think about her and she'll text me. And she will literally say in the text, dang, I felt like I needed to text you or call you or talk to you. And so these are skills that you do develop. The monks aren't wrong. Meditation is the way. And if you really want to do it, that's what you're going to have to do. It will take a lot of time. You have to have the patience for it. You have to have the time, the patience, the dedication. Your mind has to be clear. You can't say, oh, I want to go ahead and do this, and you have a bunch of crap on your plate. You have to get rid of that poop on your plate. Have a clean, shiny plate. Start there. If you don't clear your mind and your body and your soul of the negativity and everything pulling you down, you're never going to be able to develop the abilities that you have within you. It period. That goes with everything. It goes with everything. It goes with, if you're in school, you need to pass that class. What do? Well, you sit down and you study. That's a type of meditation. It really is. It's going over things, and it goes in your head, and you keep it in there and you repeat it. Meditation is a repetitive thing. That's what you have to do. You're not going to go on the freeway 2 days after learning how to stick shift. That's not going to bode well. It just isn't. You have to take your time in order to develop your abilities. Get yourself a tether. Make sure that if you're trying to develop those abilities, you get yourself a tether. You tie a string to your finger, tie it to the bed, tie it to a post, tie it to anything that means something to you. Mine is my music. So that's why I have the headphones. My tether are my headphones. I go with my headphones everywhere. If I stay at my mom's down the hill, because I'm about 2 hours away from my mom, an hour and a half, an hour 45. But if I go there, I have to have the headphones. If I don't take my headphones, I will not sleep. No matter what kind of white noise I have, I will not sleep because I need my tether. I have programmed myself to have that. So my suggestion and my advice is never try this without the tether. Establish a tether first. Make sure you know what it is. Make it a very personal thing that you really can attach yourself to, so that you know exactly where you're at and you can come back. You don't want to be lost in limbo somewhere. I mean, you can go and talk to whoever at another dimension forever and ever if you like, but think about it. That's where you're going to be, and you're going to be in a spiritual form. That's all. You're not going to be in a body. Your carcass is going to rot, and you're going to be gone to everybody else on this side. So just remember to have a tether, have something connecting you physically to your body, because otherwise it can go wrong, like I said, 1,000,001 ways, and you don't want that to happen. Dedication, meditation, mind, body, soul clear, nothing on your plate. And that's the way that you're going to be able to enhance your abilities if you have them. If you don't have them and you want to start, my suggestion is still make sure you have a tether. And if you have someone that knows what to do and knows how to do it, that can be there with you, guiding you, then it's a good idea to have someone. But you have to have someone that you trust. You have to have someone that has been doing it for a while, that knows what to do, and can really guide you. This isn't just having a conversation. This is having a mentor. This is having someone taking you by the hand, per se, but they're going to guide you with their voice, with the tone, with the softness, the intensity, all of that. It has a lot to do with it. So if you're going to try this on your own, just make sure you have a tether. If you're going to try this with someone else, make sure you trust them. Don't go and grab the first, Mandy out of the street, because that's not going to work. Don't try to go to a psychic and say, hey, I'm trying to learn how to do this. I'll pay you to do. No, 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 no. You need to have somebody that you really trust with your life, literal life. So go about it. If you want to do it. But if you don't know how to do it, you have to make sure that you understand that it does take time. It does take a lot of effort. It does take a lot of meditation and concentration and dedication in order for you to develop any kind of skill, any kind of ability, any kind of skill, a foresight, any kind of anything that's spiritual, whether you want to talk to your God or you want to talk to my gods, because I do have several deities. I just be dedicated. That's it. They guide you. That's great. But make sure that you are safe. Make sure you stay safe. You are safe, and that you take your...
I want to thank you once again, Jackie, for coming on. We appreciate you. And we are pretty much out of time. So with that, I would just like to say I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Hope that you learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section when this hits YouTube. And one of us will see it and we'll try to get the questions answered for you. With that being said, thank you guys so much for listening. We love you, and we will catch you on the next one. Until we speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.